Health chief urges Hong Kong travelers to stay away from medical institutions in South Korea. Hope is running out for more than 400 still missing in Yangtze cruise disaster. And a shocking resignation by FIFA boss Sepp Blatter. Good evening. Local health authorities are stepping up precautionary measures to prevent MERS cases from being imported into Hong Kong. Hong Kong government officials announced this afternoon that 5 South Korean medical institutions are under scrutiny over the MERS outbreak. However, the officials there failed to name the institutions or even say whether they are located within Seoul. In light of this, authorities here in Hong Kong are not taking any chances.
Any arriving passenger who have recently visited any medical institution in South Korea and developed fever or other respiratory symptoms will be regarded as suspected case as MERS.
These people will be sent to hospital for diagnosis, examination and treatment. The hospital authority announced today 17 local medical workers who went on an exchange program to South Korea did not display any symptoms of MERS. Despite this, Secretary for Food and Health Ko Man continued to warn travelers against visiting any healthcare institutions in South Korea. That includes plastic surgery clinics. Earlier, Ko said the government had asked the World Health Organization for more information about the outbreak in South Korea, including the affected medical institutions. In response, a WHO spokesperson said publishing such information won't be helpful.
Let me ask, what's the use of knowing these hospital names, putting out individual patients' name into the public, or distributing other things would only add to the scare and not help the public health aspect to it.
The spokesperson said the WHO does not find it necessary to recommend any travel restrictions for South Korea at the moment. He added the organization has been keeping a close eye on the developments and will continue to work closely with the governments of the affected areas, including South Korea, Hong Kong, and the mainland. The number of MERS cases in South Korea has risen to 30. The death toll stays at 2, and more than 1,300 people are being quarantined there. Alan Buknia has that story.
Empty schools near Seoul. This elementary school in Suwon district is one of more than 200 facilities that shut or canceled classes for the rest of the week because of the MERS outbreak. Most of the local schools are located in the area where the country's first MERS death was reported earlier this week. Education Minister Wang Wu-yo sought to calm nerves. He said education authorities will take thorough prevention measures to fight the spread of the disease. President Park Geun-hye convened an emergency government meeting and stressed that everything must be done to stop MERS. Of the new cases announced today, 4 had been in the same hospital as the first patient, a 68-year-old man who had returned from a trip to the Middle East. The other patient, a 60-year-old man, caught it from another infected person. And the number of those in quarantine has gone up sharply to more than 1,300, 500 more than yesterday. They're either in isolation at hospitals and medical facilities or in their own homes. More than 50 people who had been quarantined were cleared and released. They showed no symptoms during the 2-week incubation period. And the condition of a South Korea man being treated in a hospital in Huizhou in Guangdong province is said to have improved. A World Health Organization spokesman says the WHO is generally pleased with the situation, except that the man slipped out of voluntary home quarantine and flew to Hong Kong last week. Alan Buknia, TVB News.
More than 400 people are still missing from a cruise ship that sank in the Yangtze River 2 days ago. The number of dead has gone up to at least 26. Only 15 people have been saved. Rescue workers have started to cut into the hull of the vessel as they step up efforts to find possible survivors. Dainto reports.
Rescuers are struggling to find the missing people, many of them senior citizens. Some 200 divers, with scores more added today, have been sent into the rushing waters of the Yangtze River after the Eastern Star, carrying 456 people, sank on Monday night after being caught in a cyclone. But as heavy rain continued in Hubei province, making this part of the Yangtze murkier and ever more rapid, divers could only feel their way through the sunken vessel for those who didn't make it out in time. Meanwhile, the above-water hunt was expanded to 220 kilometers downstream today. Premier Li Keqiang, who rushed to the scene yesterday, was out directing the rescue operation early this morning. Along with his entourage, the premier solemnly bowed to the bodies of the deceased in respect. At a press conference today, authorities said they plan to continue using divers until cranes arrive to help haul the vessel up. 3 large marine cranes are already standing by at the scene, and another 2 are still en route. Among the dozen-odd rescued is tour guide Zhang Hui, who floated in a life jacket along the swollen river for 10 hours before he finally reached shore and pulled himself to safety. Still in hospital, Zhang recalled the pain of the wind and rain slapping him on the face, adding that boats passed by, but it was too dark for him to be seen. Over in Shanghai, family members of those missing in the disaster rallied on the street, upset that the government hasn't been helping them. They said they just wanted some information, adding that they only got hold of the passenger name list because it was circulated online. One of them showed reporters injuries, claiming police hit him during the protest. The demonstrators said they weren't concerned about being blacklisted as troublemakers, as finding their loved ones was their #1 priority. Diane To, TVB News.
With just 2 weeks before a legislative vote on political reform, pan-democratic lawmakers are expected to meet with the Constitutional Development Task Force over the next few days. Rani Samtani has more.
The government is going to submit its reform package to LegCo on June 17th. Chief Secretary for Administration Carrie Lam has been arranging meetings with pan-democrat lawmakers from different parties. The Democratic Party is scheduled to meet the political reform trio on Friday. Secretary for Constitutional and Mainland Affairs Raymond Tam said even though both sides are standing firm, there is a need to keep lines of communication open.
Just like in the past, we would try to lobby for support till the very end. I'm sure that first of all, dialogue itself is meaningful.
Today, there's an unconfirmed newspaper report which quoted sources as saying that if the reform package was passed with the support of pan-democratic legislators, top central government officials would announce the currently proposed chief executive election method would not last forever. But pro-democracy legislators seem unfazed by the suggestion and are sticking to their plans to vote down the proposal.
The proposal does not give the Hong Kong voters genuine choice. You give people the illusion, the misunderstanding, then okay, you won't pocket it for a lifetime, but why don't you pocket it for 1 term or 2 terms? I said, no way, not for a lifetime and not for 1 term.
I don't think the rumors could be real. This is not child play. Come on. Only a few days ago in Shenzhen, on Sunday, we heard unequivocally and clearly and loudly from Mr. Li Fei that the NPCSC decisions of the 31st of August applied not only to the 2017 chief executive election, but to every chief executive election thereafter.
Leung said his party is willing to meet with the government, but he's not sure if much will come out of it. Meanwhile, Tycoon Li Ka-shing warned today that if the reform package is rejected, everyone in Hong Kong will lose out. He urged lawmakers to think clearly, as failure to pass the reform would have an impact on Hong Kong's economy and people's livelihood. Rani Samtani, TVB News.
Turning overseas now, FIFA President Sepp Blatter is resigning from football's governing body amid a widening corruption scandal. The bombshell announcement came just days after the defiant 79-year-old was re-elected to a 5th term as FIFA president. Alan Buknia files this report.
Les membres de la FIFA me conféraient ce nouveau mandat.
It was totally unexpected. Sepp Blatter said that while a good majority of FIFA members re-elected him, it was a mandate not supported by the world of football. This comes after prosecutors charged one of his top lieutenants in a $10 million bribery scheme.
I think a key turning point was that his top aide was implicated in the scandal, and the rule of thumb is always that the person one above the top level implicated has to go.
The U.S. State Department, which indicted 14 FIFA members last Wednesday, would not comment on Blatter's announcement. The man who lost to Blatter in last Friday's election would not rule out taking another run at the job.
I'm very happy that the change happened. I cannot say anything any more than that. And I'm very happy for the support that I got from the FA in particular. And we need to work, and we need to work on the world to change the image of FIFA.
The man most mentioned as a successor to Blatter is UEFA President Michel Platini. He said Blatter resigning is the right thing to do. The Swiss Attorney General said Blatter is not under investigation in Switzerland. But authorities have said they have opened up a criminal probe into the awarding of the 2018 World Cup tournament to Russia.
The 2022
and the 2022 games in Qatar. The Swiss investigation is separate from the U.S. probe, which is focused on the allocation of media, marketing, and sponsorship rights for football tournaments. Alan Burkney, TVB News.
To the United States, where America's spy powers aren't as powerful anymore. In the newly passed Freedom Act, only telecom companies can collect Americans' phone records. Sonia Atero reports.
Gone are the days when the National Security Agency can just sweep up millions of Americans' phone records at will.
Any senators wish to vote or change their vote? If not, the ayes are 67, the nays are 32. The bill is passed.
The Senate voted to replace the Patriot Act with the Freedom Act, and President Barack Obama immediately signed it into law. Congress used the Patriot Act to detect terrorists following the 2001 terror attacks. Some lawmakers believe without it, American lives are at risk.